How's it going, everybody? RazingHel here, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Starve Together MODlight, where I try to cover interesting mods that I've been using in the past week or so. So today we're going to be taking a look at a mod called HkControl++. It's by HkControl, I suppose, and the mod bills itself as a client-side mod, but this mod improves user control over forced attack trigger and preferred targets. In other words, you don't hit walls and can fight against Ancient, Fuel Weaver, and Bee Queen with more ease. So some people might not be on board with the idea of making the game more friendly in any manner, but I think there are a couple of options here that are especially welcome. So for one thing, we can swap the force attack. So in other words, instead of having to press control something, I forget. By default, I always use force attack because I'm just not BSing around pressing down control or something when I want to, like, I just want to attack everything, right? Attack everything. If I press attack, I want to attack everything. But then again, there are some things that I probably never wanted my character to target. And that's what this mod does. That's what this mod helps me to control. So swap the force attack with normal attacks. In other words, I will be able to use spacebar in my situation, or if you have the default controls, you'll be able to press F and it will automatically, send a force attack instead of a regular attack. The second option here that we can configure is ignore walls. So if you've ever been in a situation where you needed to attack something while next to a wall, one of the most worthless things about walls, in addition to how easily they're torn down, is how the character just loves whacking away at them when you have something much more important to target. So this option, either having it, if you have it on, that means that your character will no longer target walls when you press your force attack key. Ignore balloons is much the same, except you won't automatically force attack Wes's balloons. Ignore birds. You won't attack birds if they aren't frozen or sleeping. This one I've had a little bit of trouble with. It's a great idea, I think, but I'm not sure it works like it's supposed to. Ignore spider dens. This one, they mentioned that this is, the author mentions that this could be helpful for Weber mains, people who play as Weber, because then you don't end up tearing down your own gold mine, basically. You don't kill the golden goose. Ignore Abigail, useful, especially for Wendy players. Ignore puppets, you won't attack Maxwell's shadow puppets. Ignore drones, that's for the Bee Queen. And ignore shadows, this is especially helpful for the Ancient Fuel Weaver battle in the ruins, but by default the option is off. So you will obviously still attack shadows, but the option is there to turn it on if you need to do so. So I've set up a little bit of a scenario here, and I'm just going to jump back into the world and demonstrate how some of this stuff works, right? So here I am with Wes, and we have some set pieces in place, as well as a ham bat in our hands. And as you'll notice, even just by mousing over any of these things, it does not give us the prompt to attack it. We actually have to hold the left control button with the default control scheme. So just for easy reference, I am using the default control scheme here. So to actually attack any of these walls and stuff now, we're going to have to hold control. The one thing I did mention is that when it comes to the birds, he will still target them. These are not sleeping birds and these are not frozen birds, and he'll still run after them and try to target them if you press the force attack button on your keyboard. Well, I should not say the force attack. What? Oh my goodness, how do I convey this? If you press the default attack key on your keyboard. So that doesn't work quite properly, but everything else does. And of course you can override it by holding down the control button. The one bad thing about this is if you're trying to kill something especially small and agile, or even something like or even any of the nightmare creatures, it's going to be a little bit difficult because you're not going to be able to use the keyboard. Basically, you're going to actually need to hold down control and click using your mouse. So that's largely what it does. I don't have a whole lot else to explain here. I think it's pretty self-apparent what the mod's intent is and how it kind of functions. And once again, I'm going to mention that this is a client-side mod, so it doesn't actually need to be active in the server that you're playing for it to work. which adds some nice flexibility. So here you'll see me press the force attack button, and he goes after the bird, but he doesn't target any of the walls, doesn't target any of the balloons. So I consider that a pretty big victory. Like I find this mod valuable for that small quality of life improvement alone. But that's just me. So once again, that mod was called HkControl++. If you find it interesting, go ahead and check it out. The link to it will be in the description below. If you find it useful in your own personal games, be sure to thank the author for sharing it with us. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, as always, and I hope to see you next time.